Hello my kings, queens, and in-betweens. I'm Valerie and welcome to my channel, The Bookish Valkyrie. So for today's video, I'm doing a wrap-up for the month of August. I read 9 books and I had an average rating of 4.39, which is pretty high. And then I actually had 0 DNFs, which for me is pretty great because I tend to DNF 1 or 2 books a month, sometimes more. So I will start talking about the books from the lowest rated to the highest. Alright, so first up is Triss's book, Circle of Magic number 2 by Tamara Pierce. So I gave this one a 3.5, and that's kind of a tentative rating for me. I'm not positive I'll settle there. I think I might possibly give it a higher rating on the reread, largely due to the fact that it took me so long to get through it since I was doing it as a physical read, and I'm not sure that it's a fair rating. I did get kind of annoyed with Triss, just because she seemed to be rehashing the same issues over and over and not learning at all, not even like a little bit, until people died or got hurt. So I don't know. That might be me just kind of judging, because one of the parts that I kept getting stuck on while I was reading in bed and I kept falling asleep and rereading again and again was during some of her more struggly moments. So it's possible that it's an unfair rating, and I kind of want to see what I think on the reread, but for now I'll leave it at a 3.5. I did round up to a 4.0 on Goodreads, because Goodreads. And then next I'll move on to the 4 stars, of which I had 4. So the first of the 4 stars that I want to talk about is Hopcross Jilly. It is a story in graphic novel format set in the Mercy Thompson verse by Patricia Briggs. And it is a fun little side story. It doesn't really contribute to any of the overarching themes. So if you haven't read it and you're not really into graphic novels, you can definitely skip it. However, if you want to get all of the Mercyverse that you can get your hands on, I would definitely suggest this as a good read for that. Next up is a book by Lily Mayne and Nicole Knight. It is the first in a new series. I have never read anything by Nicole Knight, but I've read almost everything that Lily Mayne has put out. And you can definitely see her touches in it. It reads seamlessly as if one author wrote it, but if you know Lily Mayne, you can definitely see the bits that were very much her contribution and the things that may not have been. Sorry, I had a little bit of a coughing fit in the middle of that last clip, so I think I hadn't quite got around to saying what the name of the book is that I was talking about, and that is Whisper in the Dark. It is the first in a new series, which I cannot remember the name of the series itself, so I will put that on the screen here somewhere. Basically, it is another monster romance, which would be a surprise to no one who has read anything by Lily Mayne. And this one has a little bit of a Cinderella twist to it. Definitely the darker end of the Cinderella types of tales. It's between a human and the monster under his bed. It's a really good time, and make sure you check all of your trigger warnings, like every trigger warning. Even if you think you may not need a trigger warning, you may still want to check out the trigger warnings, just because his family is rotten and his stepbrother is disgusting. Or half brother. Even worse, his half brother is disgusting. Anyhow, then the next 4-star read that I wanted to talk about is also by Lily Mayne. This one is a collection of monstrous short stories. It falls right after the most recent book that came out in the Monstrous series, Lore. Technically, Goodreads has it listed as 7.5, but it is a collection of short stories that I think the first one you see happens after the third book. Anyhow, she tells you all of that stuff before every short story. She lets you know where in the Monstrous series it falls, and gives you all of the trigger warnings that might be needed for each individual story. And she also includes like spoiler warnings, like basically saying this happens after this book and before this book, or in the midst of this book, and I would advise you not to read it until you've read it. Those sort of spoiler warnings. And then there's also a short story that takes place during Gloam's novel. And it's very cute and does not really, more than like one little scene in Gloam, have any connection whatsoever to the rest of the Monstrous books, but it's still a pretty great one. If anybody watching this is a bit of a loner, this may be the story where you identify with the protagonist the most. And then moving on to the last of my 4-star reads is Out of House and Home, which is number 7 in the Fred the Vampire Accountant series by Drew Hayes. It picks right up where Undeading Bells left off, and you get to see kind of the fallout of the events from the previous book, and some content from Fred's dear undeparted maker, once again making trouble for Fred. And as you might guess from the story, the name of the story, it is going to start out with a bit of a bang surrounding Charlotte, and Charlotte Manor's circumstances are going to be changed a bit. And then while I really enjoyed that, it was definitely on par with the rest of the series. Like, it just wasn't quite a 5-star for me, even though the series on the whole is a 5-star series for me. It just seemed to be missing that element. I don't know what something seemed to be missing to push it into the 5-star range, but it was still a very good book, a very good installment in the series. And that brings us to the 5-star reads, which is actually book 8 in the Fred the Vampire Accountant series. That one is called Posthumous Education. And this one did have that 5-star gleam for me. It was great. You get to see Fred take on a new role and see his unique approach to things, and it's a really good installment. If you haven't read any of the Fred the Vampire Accountant series at all, I absolutely encourage you to do so. It is so good. Basically, it's a urban fantasy series, but it is more of a cozy series than not. There's definitely plenty of action and whatnot, but like the overall vibe of it is very cozy, and very funny, very entertaining, heavy on the humor. The first book is the uninteresting. I don't know. I'll put it on the screen here. Anyhow, okay, moving on. Next We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian. This I don't think technically is part of the Cabot series, but there were a couple of scenes that made me wonder if maybe there were some very tenuous connections to the Cabot series. This one takes place in the 50s, I believe. Maybe 60s. 60s, I think. Anyhow, and it features two newspapermen. We have one of them who is at the ripe age of 26, absolutely crotchety. Just grumpy as all get out. And his love interest is a golden retriever of a newspaperman. He is actually the son of the owner of the newspaper, and his mother was a big shot reporter. And so he's raised by newspaper people, and he has a lot of respect for the news and the truth, and but he doesn't have, the skills. So he's starting out raw, and our crotchety newspaperman is the one showing him the ropes. They quickly make a very unlikely pair of best friends, and it is a best friends to lovers story. I do not typically enjoy friends to lovers stories, but this one definitely worked for me, and it was very much so done right. And next is Don't Mess with the X by DJ Jameson. This is the second book in the Rules We Break series. I just love DJ Jameson, especially her stories set in Granville. They are just absolutely full of ridiculous townfolk, ridiculously named businesses. For example, the grocery store is called the Meat Market, and the local donut shop is called Glazed Holes, so everything is very tongue-in-cheek. And then you have a passel of matchmaking grannies who are always looking for somebody to match up with somebody else, digging up all of the latest gossip, trying to give out some recreational items. And the friendship groups are all absolutely wonderful. They have their ups and downs, but they're always there for each other and very supportive. Overall, family members are also very supportive, at least within Granville. You definitely run into some not so supportive parents throughout the series, especially in this book, Don't Mess with the X. The partner who is coming to Granville as opposed to the one who grew up there has a very unsupportive, toxic family. But overall, it's just a cozy, small-town romance series, and this is actually a spin-off from the previous series set in Granville, which is the Games We Play. And I absolutely would suggest that you go back and read that series before you start this one. And this was 100% a 5-star read for me. It was everything I wanted it to be, left me happy. 5 stars, absolutely 5 stars. And then finally, we are at the last 5-star that I have. It is actually my favorite of the month, and that is Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. It is a YA post-apocalyptic horror fantasy cult story. It is definitely not for the faint of heart. Check all of your content warnings, and keep in mind that you will be seeing things like some very extensive body horror. There is some dead naming for the trans main character, and misgendering. There is, it's an apocalypse. If you have any trauma regarding pandemics and whatnot, this is definitely one you want to approach with caution, because it is featuring a apocalypse that was brought on by a cult that weaponized a virus, a designer virus. Definitely proceed with caution, but very much worth the read. If you want more details, I did a full spoiler review, vlog and review. The first half of that vlog does have a non-spoilery review, so you're welcome to check that out. And that concludes the video for the day. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see some more, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell. Have a good day. Stars shining bright above me. Night breezes seem to whisper. Sycamore tree. Dream a little dream. For the month of August, I read 9 months. I read 9 months in this month. Today's video is itchy. Month of August, I read 9 months. Why do I keep saying 9 months? Welcome to my channel, The Bookish Valkyrie. So today's channel,